welcome to Traveling Inside Out. This is Alina, your host.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the podcast that explores the world within and out. And thank you for subscribing to Traveling Inside Out wherever you feel like. Good morning, Andra. It's really early morning for me. It's 5:30 in the morning.
Good super early morning. Yes, it's noon for me, so that we don't usually talk at this time unless you can't sleep, but today we were very productive, super efficient. um
I'm actually, there's a construction site happening across from our apartment. And so they were working on the back room the previous weeks, but this today they're gonna start on the front, like just across from our bedroom. So that's why my point was like I have to record before 8 a.m. or 9 a.m. when they're coming.
right, because other after that nothing is you can't hear anything anymore.
it's it's gonna be bad. I'm thinking that I might go to the library later on. I don't know. I will see. Anyway, can you imagine that it's September? I love it that there are people who are like, who cares? Months pass. And there are people who are like, oh my
My
God,
god.
there's a new month in the year. What?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the end of September. I'm like, okay. You remember when I was saying that I'm so ready for fall? And I'm like, oh my God, fall is here almost. It's still kind of
Yeah,
warmish where I am.
it's warming up here as well. We just had like super hot weather in Romania in like early September, and then the second week of September, like immediately it got really cold and raining. We had some like Icelandic cyclone approaching, and so like for us fall was like super abrupt. And I was not ready for it. I was not ready because yeah, like I don't know, for me fall is a time of introspection. Every year when it starts cooling down and the light becomes softer and everything, I become a bit more introspective, like, oh, what did I do this year? It's almost done. I need to like make plans for next year to see what I haven't accomplished so far this year. I still have like 3 4 months to do it and then prepare for the next year. And also because in October it's my birthday, there's like a whole level of oh my god, what have I accomplished? Because it's not just another year ending, it's like also my birthday, and I'm getting older, so it's this added I don't want to say pressure, but yeah, there's like another level of meaning to fall for me. But I am glad, I have to admit, I am glad every year in September I'm like, oh my god, I'm so glad I don't have to go back to school. um
which is
like
what we're gonna talk about it
yeah, I wanted
later on.
to make a nice introduction for it. It's not that I didn't like school. I liked studying and I liked going to school, but like just the pressure of like waking up super early in the dark, in the rain, going like every day, doing homework. I'm much happier with a job because I also get paid and I can, well, be a bit more flexible about my schedule.
I do have a friend at least that she keeps saying that she would love to go back to school. And not to put anything down from what she's saying, but it's kind of sad to me if like the best times were when you were in school. Because yeah, I didn't enjoy going to school either. Like, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter the season. But yeah, it was always depressing in September.
Yeah, it was, and I remember it wasn't the same for you because in my area, because I'm since I live closer to the mountains and all, every time around September 15 when we started the new school year, it was always kind of rainy and everything,
Yes.
and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, right,
We're gonna get into that. We're gonna get
okay,
into that. But
okay,
before that, last time I forgot. So 2 times ago, like the episode in June, I was making such a big fuss because you haven't posted anything on YouTube channel. And then you did. And I forgot to mention it. I swear I didn't do this on purpose. But
no,
I
it's
also
fine.
want to mention, I have to mention that you did do it like a day before we recorded or
I,
something
I
like
did,
that.
I did, but it was, it worked because it was. I did it on time, but then I posted another one. So
Yeah, and you
I have
posted. You have two since then. Yes, that's correct. So your YouTube channel is your actual. It's your actually name. So it's your Andada Popandorka. Um, and so I'm happy that you did that, and I hope that you do more and more and more. As for me, I wasn't. So I've been to Poughkeepsie, and that was a trip. And I started, like I've done two, I think, two shorts since then, and then I stopped. And now I've started telling my story about how the tickets that I got for my husband's birthday in March to see Hans Zimmer in September, they got canceled a few hours before the event. And
yeah, super last.
we traveled for that event to Baltimore. And not only that, but the train was still, nothing worked. We wanted to see a museum, and it was supposed to be kind of like a house museum that used to be on a plantation. So it was, I asked my husband, are you okay with seeing this? And he's like, yeah, we can go and see what's that about. And it was on a Sunday after like midday, and it was closed. Like there was nothing around. And I'm like, well, nothing worked. Like, what is happening with Baltimore? Like, what is going on? So I made shorts, and I did follow your advice, because at some point when you were watching my shorts, you were saying that you wish you would see me a bit um in the shorts. So I started recording, and I'm gonna probably eventually invest in some sort of camera if I want to make proper vlogs. I'm not gonna be a vlogger now. Don't get me wrong. I'm not gonna do like crazy
Right.
shit. But like I'm using my phone, and maybe I don't want to use my phone that much for this. But yes, I recorded. You can see my face a bit more. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, no, and
in
I do like that because your face is so pretty.
Thank you, Andra. Thank you. So that being said, let's move on to the recommendations. And because school started, I decided to do something a bit different. So I'm going to recommend a YouTube channel, which a lot of people may already 100% sure heard of it, but for whoever hasn't, it's called Crash Course. Crash is in CRASH, Crash Course. And they have a lot of videos. But so basically it's a YouTube channel where they are describing themselves as like it's the best way to educate yourself free on YouTube.
Okay.
They function out of um oh my god, I'm blanking on the word. Oh no. Ugh, it's such an easy word. Oh my god, this is an ADHD moment. um I keep having recommendations in my donations. Okay, so
Okay.
donations, and then they're also doing like a coin, whatever. The thing is that it's free. It's on YouTube. It's being used actually by teachers in different classes. However, the one that I want to recommend, which isn't it interesting that I forgot the actual name? So it's about religion. They just started on September 10th. That was the first episode. There are going to be 24 episodes. And so it's about how we define, debate, and contest what religion means, even if you are or you're not religious.
Okay.
And I think this is one of the things that I really dislike the fact how we learn religion, because I always said that I wish we would have learned the history of religions and not just focus on one religion, and
Yeah.
that was it, and basically learning prayers and stuff. um but they have a lot more. They have like chemistry, literature. It's so funny because I started uh, watching about how United States government and presidential and everything is ruled. And it's so interesting because you see all of the law and all of that, and then you see one administration that completely disregard anything that is in those videos. That would be the law, and would be, but I have about biology, There's like a lot. Oh, and also they had Black History. I was watching that together with my husband,
Hmm.
about Black history, uh, Black American
So,
history.
so it's like not, it's for adults, right? It's not for kids. It's
No, but there is, it's the way that is animated, because there's an actual person who's talking and so on. But when they make some points, it's animation. It's so cute and so it is. It's not necessarily not for kids because
Mhm.
it's educational. Uh, but depending on the subject you might need the maturity level, but it is like it's easy to digest, and
Mhm.
they are explaining things really 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 well. So crash course on YouTube, it's amazing. You can just check it out to see. I'm suggesting the religion one because they just started and I'm really interested in, I'm going to keep up with it. And it's going to come out once. Ooh, I don't remember if it was once a week or once a month. I don't remember that. But yeah, they have about, oh, I think they had like European history, and it was getting me so mad to see how women were disregarded. I was like so upset that afterward I was watching the astronomy one. I was like, when everything sucks on this planet, I'm just gonna
I need to,
learn about about
I need to
stars
look at
and
the bigger picture. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, because I can't. So yes, that is my recommendation for this month.
It sounds super interesting. I'll have to search for it because actually I didn't know about it. Um, for me, I'll go with something a lot more uh, entertainment focused. I'll go with Exploding Kittens because I'm sure a lot of people have heard about the card game, which is I played it for the first time last like about 2 years ago for New Year's Eve at a party, and we were several people, and it was kind of fun because you can use a lot of mean cards on your opponents and a lot of like kittens that explode and do whatever. But now I recently discovered that there's also a Netflix show, which is also called Exploding Kittens. It's based on kind of the same idea. And there's a god cat that gets sent to Earth to live with a human family, and he just does a lot of cat things. It's super funny because he's sent on Earth to do like important things, and then he gets distracted by lasers and a lot of things that cats do. Get distracted, and he's like trying to solve things for humanity, but then he's like, where's my catnip? It's kind of funny. It's like it's nothing like super complex or anything. It's just very lighthearted. It's like a nice 20 something minute episode to watch when you kind of feel like you want to rest your mind. So that's my recommendation for today.
I love it, and that's just perfect. Education and playful things,
Yeah,
because we need that as well. So today's episode, I said this is September, and you were just mentioning. I was thinking to talk about the first, because we've been doing this a lot, and I really love to talk about it because we do have different experiences, even though again we live in the same country. So I wanted to talk about the first day of school, but because we had quite a lot first days of school, both you and I,
yeah.
we we did quite a bit of learning in our life. I wanted
Yeah.
to focus on high school.
Okay.
High school, because we've been talking so much about childhood and like early memories and so on, that I want to just focus a little bit on high school to bring it to our teenage years. So, high
Oh.
school for me, first and
Hmm.
foremost, we mentioned in the holiday, like summer holiday episode, that we summer holiday was for, in general, 15th of June to 15th of September. Now, granted, if it was like a Sunday, Monday, we wouldn't start. So it depends, it fluctuates, but it would be around that time. Um, and that was the same for high school as well. It changed when we started university. We start the 1st of October, 1st of no,
Yeah.
1st of
First of October. Yeah.
1st of October, right? Yeah, I was like, it was first of something. Um, I feel like they changed and they were starting. Anyway, that's how we were starting high school. Now, high school is when you change the school where you're at, even if you're at the same school, you're not at the same school. So, the way that in Romania the school system goes, you may or may not have something before you start school. So, it's kindergarten basically between the age of 2 and 7 ish. So, you may or may not have a class zero basically. But then you start school with first class, which is from the age of 7 or 8 or 6, between 6 and 8, depending on how your parents deciding to put you in school, up until 8th grade. And then after that, there's a test. And with that test, at least our generation, that's what happened. I'm the first generation where they changed the way that you get to high school. Uh, with that, you go and you enroll in high school. Now, I've done my first 8 classes in a small town where we were living. And then for high school, I wanted to go to the main city of the county I was living in, which is Sibiu. Sibiu is a well known tourist city. It wasn't that well known back then, it was a little bit, but now it's like really well known city in Romania, in the center of Romania, if you put it geographically speaking. But yeah, we are surrounded by mountains. I'm not in the mountains per se, but we are surrounded by mountains. So uh, I'm not
But that
like,
was very far from where you lived, right?
yeah,
It's
it was, uh, at the time it was like 30-40 minutes by train,
okay.
but because the train got worse and worse and worse, now I think it's like 1 hour or something like that by train.
Hmm.
However, I mentioned this in a previous conversation, I was living in a dorm. So I would come at home only during the weekend. So I would be in a dorm from Sunday to Friday. And then yeah, Friday afternoon, after classes, I would go back home and I would come back in the evening on Sunday. But there were people who were just doing the um uh, oh my god, what's happening with me? I can't find my
It's
words
super
today.
early for you though. It's super early.
Yes, that is also true. The uh, how do you say it? Between school and home, the
Commute
road. Thank you, the commute. There were people who were doing the commute for school like that, but I would have been, would have been way too much on me to
to
do
do it
that
every
every
day
day.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for the 4 years. Anyway, so that's just kind of to put it in the perspective. So now you give me the perspective of yours, and then gonna get into details of mine. But just paint me the bigger picture for you.
Right. So back when I finished eighth grade, yeah, we also had that. Like it was kind of like a national examination, and I think that's what you were saying, that you were the
Mm-hmm.
first generation to have that.
Mm-hmm.
And based on the grades we
No,
got,
no, 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 no. Wait. No, I need to interfere. It wasn't. I wasn't the first one to have the examination, the national examination. My generation was the first one that the grades that you got into the examination, it would matter to the point that that's how you enroll for high school, because
right,
before my brother's generation, he had to go to the high school and give that exam specifically at a specific high school.
right,
Well,
and
for
admission.
me, yeah, for me, I had the grade that I got at the end of the examination, and I would just put it on a list of high schools,
Hmm.
and then the best one was the one that I got in.
Right.
So that was the
Yeah.
difference. because
Right,
yeah,
right.
good point. I kind of mentioned it, but I didn't mention. So yes, that was what happened. Okay,
Yeah,
now
yeah, 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 yeah. You're
sorry.
right. And same for me. I don't think I did any examination for the high school that I was applying for. I think because I was applying for like a bilingual class, whatever, studying for like English. I think I had to do like an English like exam there, but yeah, everything else was the national examination grades. And it was like a completely new school. It was just, yeah, like the one that I was in before. It also had like high school grades, but also like elementary school and middle school grades.
Mm-hmm.
And this one was, yeah, like just high school, and everything was going to be new. Everybody was going to be new. I i did get into the grade, the class that I wanted, the Romanian English bilingual studies, whatever. um and together with me, I had one of my friends from my previous school as well. So we were in the same class, in the same school, and we were admitted into the same grade as well, into the same class. And so I was feeling like, oh, at least I have her. And we can be together. I had a few others from my previous class that I was friends with, but get admitted into the same high school, but they were not in the same class with me. They were like in a parallel class. And I was, yeah, like I was excited to have them with me as well, but they weren't gonna be in the same class with me. So I was kind of like sticking to this one friend of mine that, oh, we were gonna be together. I'm so happy that I have you to like stick myself to for the next 4 years. Uh, so um it was a bit, the move was also overwhelming for me, because yeah, I knew that we were going to be the youngest in the whole building. We were going to be the newcomers. Yeah, I had no idea, like everything was going to change. And I mean, for me, yeah, I was still commuting, because yeah, I lived in the countryside. I lived like 8 kilometers away from the city, so I would still have to commute anyway. But yeah, everything was also very new, so I was a bit anxious, I have to admit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay, so you were commuting. How long was your commute?
Um, I guess like 15-20 minutes by bus.
Yeah. Okay. So reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's gonna be very funny because you're gonna hear in a second. So I have to mention one thing though. I did get so okay. The way that I chose my high school, I had good grades. So they weren't like the best. Like I wasn't like 10 all across.
Straight days, whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't like that. However, I had good grades and I had to choose like what I want to do, right? And I wanted to go into what we are calling human studies, which by that I think it meant more um, like not science, not math, not uh, informatics or whatever it was at the time. And so I wanted to go to a high school that was mostly known for that because there were at the time, it's not the case anymore, but at the time there were three main like great high schools in that town.
Mm-hmm.
And there was one that was known for mathematics. There was one that was known, as I was saying, for the human studies. And then there was the German high school because that city has a strong German influence. And obviously, I wouldn't go to the German one because I've never studied German in my life. And so my mom wanted for me to go to the mathematics ones, and I because she was thinking that's and I don't think that she was wrong. Looking back, she wasn't wrong. That is the future.
Your options.
Yeah. But
Mm-hmm.
I was like, no. And my teacher Romanian, like the one that we studied Romanian, like my Romanian class teacher. Um, she met my mom after the exam and she said, let her do what she wants because she's a good student and she knows what she's about, something like that, kind of like giving my mom encouragement to trust me.
Mm-hmm.
um and it's not like she would have forced me.
You're
So
right.
what's really fun is that you would have gotten basically, so you made your list of high schools and you would have gotten to the high school depending on your grade. So obviously you would put the more difficult high school to get into on the top,
Right.
right? And then you go to your whatever options. And so I think I put like around maybe 5 options. And I put the last one, the one with mathematics. That was like, there was no way for me to get into that because I put it on the bottom of my list. But I put
To
it
make
like,
sure you don't.
just just so you know how I function as a person. And this is how I used to be growing up. So I was like, okay, mom, I'm not gonna put it on the list. I'm gonna put it on the bottom. So I'm 100% sure there's no way to get to it because I would have gotten to a, lower uh,
Right.
grade high school before getting to that one. So,
Right.
but I put it on the list. So there we have it. I did get to my first option. I did got into my first option, which was that great high school that was for human studies. However,
Mm-hmm.
we were called. So my first day in class was a bit with a like a like a teaser, like a like a first pilot episode. We were called. Now I don't remember if it was earlier in September, if it was in August. It was like, I do not remember exactly when, how long before, but we were called to class before because we had to choose an optional class. So, and now
Right.
I'm gonna get into exactly what you said. So there were three main classes, A, B, C, which was A was mostly literature. B
Right.
was the bilingual English, and C was foreign languages. So we would study an extra language. In general, in Romania, I have to mention this. We start learning our first foreign language on second, yeah, on the
Second grade. Yeah.
yeah, second grade, and then we start with a second language on the in the sixth grade, I think,
I think
or
so. Yeah.
something like that. So
Elementary.
the majority of people usually, unless you have like, unless you are of a different heritage or something like that, you would start with English and then you move on to French maybe, or German, something like that, more or
Yeah.
less. I started with French and then I moved to English. um,
Okay, you started with
and
French.
yeah, I
Interesting.
started with French and then we moved to English, so that's why my English level was completely different than my colleagues, but we're gonna get to that. um, so when I had to choose, when I got to the high school and I had to choose, I was like, I don't want the bilingual because I'm not like, I can't get into the bilingual. And so I was like, what's the difference between those two? And she's like, well, I think it's a little bit more grammar in the A. And I was like, oh, I don't want that. So let's get into the foreign languages. And so we were called to class because we had to choose what foreign language we're going to do. So we had the option of either starting learning Spanish from like the ninth grade, or we're just going to get an extra class for French or for English.
Mm-hmm.
So we had to make the choice. We came with the parents together, and it was democracy, like
Mm-hmm.
straight up democracy.
We
And I
vote.
was like, I'm not gonna. And also, we were doing also Latin, which it's kind of forgotten, but we were studying Latin since the sixth or the seventh grade. I don't remember. I don't remember exactly, but
I think
somewhere around there.
I think seventh, because I remember I did 4 years of Latin, and I
Okay,
think I
there you
did
go then. Then okay, 7. So then I did
eight,
6.
and then in
Yeah.
high school 9 and 10. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So um in my head I was like, I'm not going to start learning a new language when I'm struggling with French, even though I've had so many years of French, and I'm interested in English. I really loved English. I wanted to study English way before we started studying English, you know.
Mhm.
So I'm like, I'm just gonna ask for an extra class of French or English. Like, I don't want to learn a new language. There were 2 votes for what I voted. The rest of the class voted for Spanish.
Oh God.
So I was forced into Spanish. So that was the before we started
So
high
that was
school.
like what, early September?
I think so. I don't remember exactly, but I think so. Must have been just a few weeks before. You know, must have been just a few weeks before. So then they can do the scheduling and all of that. You know, I understand from that point of view. So that's how we started. But now I have to tell you just something from the first day. I went to the wrong class. So I had 0 friends. None of the people that I knew from high school. I feel like I had maybe one other colleague that she went to a different class than mine in the whole high school. And there were, um, so we had A, B, C. I was the C.
Mm-hmm.
We had the D. We had the E and F. Then we had the M, that was the Hungarian class.
Oh,
And then we
okay.
had the, because Magyar, you know.
Right.
And then we had the I, that was informatics. So A, B, C, D, E, F. I don't think there was a G. I don't remember. But then we had the M and the I. So we were like 8. I think we were like 8 classes that started
Same for us. But we had
that
from
year. So
A to H. Yeah.
there you go. And so usually it starts with, and I'm guessing that would be the same. So there's like festivities in which there's like the main people of the school, whatever. But then there's like sometimes there's like a police officer or like a priest, or
Hmm.
which it's so freaking fucked up to bring a priest, because again, religions, people might believe something else. No, doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, they just push
Um,
it to the throat.
a priest, a nun. No, I'm joking. Or like whatever. And then you go to class, and you have your headmaster basically, and stuff like that. But my, myself and another person went to the wrong class. My mom was still with me. And what's crazy is that I have no memory of my mom. And my mom was like telling me, and I'm like, I believe you. I'm just saying, I do not remember
Where
you
are you
anymore.
coming?
So somehow we arrived later. So like everybody was already in the class with the headmaster, and we went, and there were for some reason not enough seats. Since there were not enough seats, how come nobody thought that maybe we're not supposed to be there? Because how are we gonna have the class? So we were sitting on an armchair somehow. I don't even know why there was an armchair in the class.
Oh, that's so
We
funny.
stayed there for like half an hour or like 20 minutes or something.
And when did you realize it was not your
I
class?
don't know what happened, but the other girl that I was with, because we were just in line and then we just went together. We were like, yeah, here, here, yeah. So we went to B. So we went to the bilingual class. That's why I'm saying it's so funny, because that's
Right.
your class basically.
That's where I was. Yeah.
Um, so we were laughing so much, and because of this experience, she ended up being my um how are we saying in English? My benchmate? I don't even know.
Desk mate, I think.
Deskmate? Okay, thank you. For the for the next 4 years. So she
Yeah.
was that bonded us so well that she was my deskmate for the next four
See, every
years.
mistake has a silver lining. Yeah, you made a friend. You didn't know anybody, but because of this mistake, you made a friend.
And so my teacher was like, "Where were you?" And we went to the wrong class.
To the
Like, oh
in
my
the other
God.
room.
And the thing is that, the anxiety or like a little bit anxious or like nervous that you were
Of
talking
course.
about, I was like that as well. And I didn't want to have, um, like I usually when I'm coming into a new group, and again I didn't know anyone in the high school and all of that. I was like, I don't want to get the attention on me. Like I just want to observe, so
Right.
then I can understand how to behave and all that. Like first
Yeah.
I need to. Well, guess what? I didn't get to just observe because, like, it was a whole thing that happened around me and
Yeah.
the other girl.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I wanted to mention this little thing. But I'm gonna get into more details. So now you tell me some of the first things that you remember about the first day.
It's the first day is not super vivid in my memory. But I do know that, yeah, like I met outside of the building in front. I met, yeah, some of the people that I already knew, from my previous class, from my previous school, and we were all kind of like, "Oh my God, we're not gonna be in the same class anymore. We're not gonna be in the same room, but we'll meet in the every break. We'll meet and we'll talk about it, and we'll be friends. We promise." And then we started to look for the rooms that we were supposed to be in, because unlike in America, we were discussing in Romanian high schools, and I guess most of Europe, actually, I don't know, but in Romania, each class of students has their own room assigned, and it's the professor, it's the teacher moving around to teach, when they have a session with whatever, and then they move.
Hmm.
So we had to find our rooms, and we would be in that room for a longer time. um, and I remember we were in a room on the ground floor, and it was kind of dark and it was kind of small, and I didn't like it at all. When I got in there, I felt like it felt crowded, and I didn't. Yeah, I just knew this one girl that I was, yeah, friends with, and yeah, we sat together. We sat together for the entire, yeah, like 4 years. But it just, yeah, I felt uncomfortable. I felt on somehow very, very self-conscious and very uncomfortable. I don't remember what I was wearing. I'm trying to remember something, but I have no idea. I have no idea what I was. Probably some jeans, because back then I would always wear jeans.
There were, I just have to say this, there were high schools that they did have uniforms. It was not my case,
Yeah,
and I'm hearing now that it was not your case. But
yeah,
there were, obviously, my brother's generation, not in his high school, but my brother's generation had even more, probably, high schools. So it was kind of not happening, like it was starting to phase out, I guess, the uniforms. But
yeah.
I just want to mention this: I always wanted a uniform. And
Actually, I would
point
like the one
at
as
some
well.
point during my 4 years, they wanted to introduce uniforms and they voted and so on, and it was not accepted.
Hmm.
I wanted it because I was like, I don't have to stress about what I'm gonna wear and all of that.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
so much easier. I don't want to. So I probably one of the few. Granted that maybe if I would have had the uniform, I would have been like, oh, with
yeah.
this.
Same shit
But
for 4 years. Oh my god.
yeah, but as I didn't, I wanted to. So yeah, I have no idea what I was wearing. Probably something nice because my mom was with me, so she was trying to make me dress something nice. Because at the
Right.
time I was like very much against dresses, against colors, against. I was a bit of a tomboy, to say, kind of a little bit. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah. 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 Um, for me, I wore a uniform in elementary school. I think up to like first grade for sure we had uniforms, but like those old communist, like dark blue, navy,
Hmm.
little squared things. Uh, second grade as well. I'm not sure if I wore it up until the fourth grade. I think so, actually, I did. But then in high school, no, for sure. I would have liked a nice, like nicely designed uniform, that like not the communist type, but like more like in the anime kind of a manga uniform, or like I was
That's so
like,
funny because you're saying manga. I was thinking, do you remember? It was around our high school years. Rebelde, I think. There was
yes, I do, I do
there was a band, and then there was like a TV show or something like that that they had. So I went to that to
remember that
that.
one. Yeah. For me, I have to admit, I went straight to Sailor Moon times. So and I'm sure this is like a completely going off a tangent, but when I went to Korea and Japan, I did buy myself one of those like schoolgirl uniforms, but like for
Wait,
adults, for like cosplaying.
oh wait, what?
You don't know? Oh my god, I have to send you pictures of it. Yeah,
Andra,
I
what the
still have.
heck?
Oh
Yes,
my god,
send me pictures.
I wore it like twice for some Halloween parties, obviously, because like there's not much else to it. But like it's a full thing with like a skirt, like a shirt, a vest, even like a little like a tie, like a whole thing. I bought that for myself. I wanted to buy like a Sailor Moon costume for cosplaying, but I didn't really like it, and it was like the one that I did like was super expensive. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna buy this one
You
instead.
have the legs for it. You are such a easy to make anime character. You have the I mean, you have the body, shape and all that for it. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, just I guess just because I'm like, yeah, I was always super skinny, but it was, yeah, I decided to buy it. But like, yeah, in school, in high school, I never wore a school uniform. So I was, yeah, I was pretty anxious. I remember that. I was a little bit. I remember also, yeah, we had some sort of a speech. I don't think we had the parents with us. I don't think so. We had some sort of a speech from our assigned teacher. Like, I don't know what it's called in English, how you have like this teacher who's
I'm
like
just
the
saying
supervisor.
headmaster, but it's not quite the same.
It's not quite the same, yeah, because that's like for the whole school, but for us, yeah, we had like an assigned like
Each
supervising
class,
teacher,
yeah,
whatever.
had a yeah.
And she was like a Romanian literature teacher. So yeah, we knew we were gonna have a lot of Romanian, and she also taught us Latin. And I yeah, luckily we wouldn't be in that same room for too long. I think only like the ninth grade, and then we moved to a much bigger, much nicer. The literature room, it was called. I guess it's because because we had this like Romanian teacher supervisor, and it was, this one was super nice, starting from 10th grade, actually no, a bit later, but like it had like very nice like big windows, it was bigger, it was brighter, we had like nice paintings of authors, Romanian authors on the walls with like nice quotes and everything. So it was actually, whenever you didn't feel like listening to what's being taught to you and you wanted to just like look at the walls, literally, you had something to rest your eyes on. So that was always nice. All of us, we
Which
used to read those quotes a
which
ton.
brings me to my question: where were you placed within the class? Where were you sitting?
Um,
Did you keep changing, or you had the same place the whole time?
um, I kept changing for a while. I was usually kind of like in the middle. I wasn't like first desk always, but I didn't really like to be in the last one as well, because I wasn't really tall, so I couldn't really see too well. Um, but yeah, I was always kind of in the middle somewhere.
Okay,
In the,
so I stayed in the same place for the whole 4 years.
oh,
So we had those wooden slash metal benches, old benches, the ones, it's hard to describe. But basically, you are sharing the desk with another. That's why I mentioned
yeah,
uh, the girl that I was sharing my desk with, or she was sharing it with me. We were sharing together. But we used to have, so there were like four benches and three rows.
yeah,
And I think one had five, one, two, three, four. No, four benches and three rows. I forgot to mention that our class, because again it was foreign languages, we had just two guys in the whole class. And
Yes.
then later on, we had another guy who transferred um, to our class. But I was in the second row, in the no, in the second not row, in the second bench on the row by the window.
Hmm.
And being by the window was amazing because, or not, because ADHD, which I wasn't aware of back then,
Right.
I would get distracted. But looking out the window is really helping my psyche. So no matter how horrible the time, and I loved, we had trees around, and then
Right.
later on there was a library that was um like it was renovated, so I was able to see the building of the library across the street. um and so that was brilliant for me. I was close enough that I would see, because I didn't have glasses until the last year of high school. So I was
Okay.
close enough to see the board, and not, so not in the first, on the first bench. So then so for me, it was perfect where I was staying. And I was there for the whole 4 years. And I had my colleague on my um, right. And yeah, that was just amazing. It was pretty cool. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that I barely remember my mom being with me, and I believe her that she was with me. But I also had to adjust to being in a bedroom with
Right. The dorms. Yeah.
in a dorm room, sharing the room with three other girls, and having a communal bathroom, showers, toilets. So there were like a room for sinks, a room for toilets, and a room for showers. As
Right.
in, and we didn't have a shared common kitchen, but I wouldn't cook. I mentioned about this before, that I had to go. It was like half an hour one way, half an hour the other, or more than half an hour. I don't remember, 40 minutes maybe, to go to where our cafeteria was, because my high school didn't have these dorms. And
Right.
so I had to go to another high school's dorm. Um, and so I had to walk crazy time. And the problem was that I didn't take a bus. I realized, I was like, why was I taking the bus? Because we were very close, like the dorm was really close to a bus stop. However, the cafeteria wasn't. So the time that it would take me to go from the bus stop to the cafeteria, I was like, might as well just walk the whole thing, because it wouldn't make sense. It wasn't close to any bus stops, because it was really downtown area, and you didn't have buses going through like the main road.
The
And
main
then
old.
as I was in high school, they made it more pedestrian, because it was kind of with some cars, but then later on it made it pedestrian, and it would be just the cars that are bringing things to the shops and stuff that are allowed, you know.
But
So
when you, sorry to interrupt, when you moved to Sibiu for high school, how well did you know the city? Had you been there often or not so much? Like, were you
you
excited to
know,
move to the city or not really?
I was excited for uh like a new thing. I was I didn't know the city. I didn't know the city one bit.
Okay.
We would go to the city maybe once a month or once in a few months.
Oh,
And
okay.
so yeah, I've seen it. I've seen This is what happens with me in general. I know bits and bits of a town, because we've been to like the main shopping center. We've been to like downtown area, to like a bakery or stuff like that. And we
Mhm.
would go to um, farmers market or something like that. That would be in another part of the town. So
Yeah.
we would go in different points, but I didn't know where those points were according to my high school, to my, so I had to figure out what's the shortest way to, like, I would go this way. It took me a second until I realized that there was a shorter way to my high school. Like, it was, uh, I literally learned as I went, and the
Yeah.
literal of
Okay.
going, um so yeah, it was just, that's, I don't even know that I was like fully grasping. I was like, this is my life. This is what I have to do. I have to go here. I have to do that. Like, I
Right. Yeah.
wasn't, you know what I'm saying? I
Yeah. Probably
wasn't
kind of just like, oh,
ruminating.
what's
Yeah, I
next?
wasn't ruminating back then that much about it. I was like, this is just how it's going to go. I'm going to see
Yeah.
my
Yeah.
parents every weekend. I'm going to be here. But I can tell you, in the first week, because I was very much listening to my parents, uh, before starting high school, I had a time when I was supposed to be to bed. So, like, I was going to bed at 8 p.m. or something, like, which is, guess what? My actual time, because as an adult, I'm 30, 30 what? 38 years old. And I'm
You know,
going to bed at 9
crazy
p.m.
you have to count now. I'm the same. I'm like, how old am I getting? Like 30 what?
What's happening? um, Point is that I was like, my first week in that dorm, I was crying myself to sleep because my roommates were, even though we were supposed to shut down by 10 p.m., I think, or maybe earlier, I don't remember. I think by 10 p.m., the lady that was, she was, we were calling it the lady of the night. She would literally just come into the room, turn off the light, like, not even talking with us or anything. Like,
Really? Like somebody
come
would
in,
turn off
turn
the
off the
light?
light. Come in, turn off the light. The point is that I wanted to go to bed. My roommates were not going to bed. So as I was crying myself to sleep and trying to put my head under the pillow, and they were kind of also kind of laughing at me and stuff.
Of course.
So it was like a learning curve of how to deal with these girls that I wasn't getting along with, because
Oh,
I just wanted to go to bed. I wanted to, and I was also waking up earlier than everyone because I had to do the extra walking back to my high school
right.
after, so I was being the first one waking up. So it was just, I was miserable in the beginning. But I was just like, I guess I'm just miserable. That's how this goes.
This is life now. God.
And
No,
you know
yeah,
what's
you're
really,
right.
what's really funny? Now I understand that I have ADHD, and I didn't just get ADHD in my 30s. I always had ADHD. And so I had these depressing years of being in high school, which I just thought that I'm kind of like this cool chick that I have things that I'm going through and shit, And I'm like, it's actually because I had ADHD, and I was just, some things would just not apply to the way that I'm relating to the
Right.
world, and it was making me depressed because like, if you listen to a lot of people who are talking now as adults, especially the people who have been diagnosed as adults, they are talking about how their depression is really connected to ADHD,
Yeah, yeah. No,
which I didn't know,
I
obviously.
actually like, yeah, yeah. It's super telling now because you've sent me those, and I'm like, that actually makes sense. And I don't know if I had it, if I have it, but to be honest, there's so many things that would also apply to me these days. That and also back in the day, I should probably get myself diagnosed as well, um, because yeah, I always thought about myself that I'm just like a, like, yeah, I'm just more like a depressive person. I'm more like, yeah, you think of yourself in some ways, you're like, yeah, I just, maybe I'm just not as happy as everybody else, but yeah, you just don't function the same.
And you're just struggling to, you're always trying to catch up.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I've seen something written, which it's so amazing. When you go hiking in a group, and there are people on different levels, there are the ones who go faster, and then there
Right.
are the ones who go slower. If you are the leader of the group, and the people who are going faster, obviously they reach to a point faster than others who are slower. You should remember the moment when the people who are slower reach the other people, not to be the moment when, okay, so now we can
Let's
go.
start. Yeah,
Because
yeah,
they never get, the people who are slower, they never get to catch up their breath.
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's the
And
moment when you
that's,
should start the rest, the break. Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
yes,
That's a good
because
point.
that's not fair for those people. Now, if we would apply that to other aspects in life,
In society, yeah.
wouldn't that be amazing? Because all I've done my entire educational years, I was trying to catch up.
Mm-hmm.
And when I thought that I'm catching up, is when they were moving forward. And that's
Right.
another thing that I want to mention. And you tell me then about you. I had the biggest shock. So I was talking about the first day, more or less. The first week was such a shocking experience because in my previous school years, it would take maybe around a month until we would have our final schedule.
Oh, right.
Teachers would teach us, but they would not already give us tests or, like, you know,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So the teacher that we mentioned, that I said that is the headmaster of the class, so she was actually teaching French and Spanish.
Okay.
And she gave us a test in our first week.
To see where you are, or just
Yeah,
what?
for
Okay.
the French.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to guess what grade I got? So I'm going to remind people, in Romania, we are grading from 1 to 10, 10 being the A. Uh, 4 is the one when you fail. 5 is basically, so 4 would be the F. And so the 5 is just barely
Like passing
making it not failing. Do you want to guess my score?
for French, and you had
Mhm.
studied how many years of French, or how, like, in
From the
elementary?
second grade to the eighth grade, and I struggled a little bit because there's a bunch of reasons, but one of the reasons is that we kept changing the teacher every time, so we never
Right.
had but I didn't like studying French. I didn't like that language.
I would say like a 7.
You want to try again?
Lower.
I would
Because
say lower.
since you're laughing like that, I will go with a 5.
3.
You got a 3. Oh my god.
That was my first grade
Oh,
in my first week of high school.
high school.
The
Oh my.
world ended.
Oh my god. But that's like.
The world ended, Andra.
Oh my god. But
Because
that's terrible.
what? How do you mean you're going to score me in the first week? What the heck? What
That's
even?
the thing. And I mean, like, I understand her need to, like, kind of see where the students are, but to grade you like this, I mean, I would put you in like levels, like, oh, you guys are like, intermediate, and these people are below intermediate, and like maybe do 3 groups, but to actually give you grades, yeah, that's like super fucking traumatizing. Because you were all coming from different schools, different teachers, different backgrounds, different everything.
I was supposed to be the one, exactly as you said. Well, 7 would have made sense. No, I didn't. I
Oh,
do want to talk about high school more. So I just wanted to talk about the introductory of high
right,
school.
this person.
So
Yeah.
the thing was that, yeah, we went straight in. So teachers were actually teaching. We had homeworks. Like, it was the first week, which was insane for everything I've done until then. It was
Yeah,
just,
like,
what? The first week I have homeworks. I have to learn. I have to. What is happening? No, and then also I had to adjust with everything else. It was just, what the heck is happening? Why? What? No, this is not how life. What? I was like that. So
that is
yeah,
that is kind of
give
crazy.
me give me your, like, the first week of high school, and hopefully we
um
can talk about high school in general in another episode.
Oh yeah, because there's much to talk about high school. I don't fully remember, like I said, so much about like the actual beginnings of high school, but I don't. Sorry, I think the only actual class we had in high school with like actual homework and everything in the first week was maths, and that's because
Mhm.
our teacher, he was like super serious. Like, I respect him so much now. Like, back when we started, it was like, oh my god, are you serious? Like, are you really going to start this like full on from the very first? Like, he came in, like, he introduced himself. Okay, who are you? Okay, and then like after 10 minutes, he was like, okay, let's start. And like he filled up like the two blackboards, and we were like, oh my god, are you serious? But he was actually one of the best teachers I've ever had. Like, he was so super calm, super nice, nice as a human being. He was strict, and he would give us homework, and I never thought maths to be one of my best skills. But when I finished high school and we had again the national examination and all, like, maths was probably like one of the subjects that I got one of the highest grades in, and it was like literally it was thanks to him, because like I liked his way of teaching.
I'm
But
sorry. I have to interrupt you.
yeah, do
Wait,
it.
wait, what? So you did bilingual English and you chose math? As how did
Um,
you I
I
how
couldn't actually
what?
choose. So actually, my class, my
Excuse you, lady, what are you talking about?
so I have like it was a kind of a strange combination that we did. For us, the profile, the specialization of the class was like a combination. So we had mathematics, informatics, with a bilingual specialization, Romanian English. So we actually did two. So I was math for me was mandatory in the national examination after high school. Romanian was, and English was, because the like the profile of the class that we had. And the optional ones that I chose were physics. I chose physics, and
What?
because I actually like physics, but I took like I got
What?
the lowest grade.
I'm,
You
hi,
had no
Andra.
idea?
Nice to meet you. I'm Alina. How are you? What
Yeah, I chose, seriously, I chose physics because I was like,
I
I'm not
can't.
going to, yeah,
I
yeah. I
can't.
chose physics, and I chose physical education. So I chose
Okay.
sports and like, so for those two, those were my optional from
I'm
because I
really
was
guilty.
supposed, I had, because of the profile of my class, I had to choose one humanistic one, like you said, and one science. But mathematics was like mandatory for me, because yeah, I studied mathematics like throughout, like a lot actually. And Romanian was mandatory, and English was mandatory. Yeah, and yeah, starting like the first week, first class, maths was the thing that felt like, okay, this is going to be serious for the next 4 years, and it was, and I'm actually happy it was. um
I am shocked to my core. I didn't know
that's
this
so,
about
that's so funny. Actually, probably we didn't talk too much about high school, because high school was
you.
kind of like
No.
a period for the
Like I
both of us.
can't.
And when we met, we were like in university, and we were like, you know what, new town, new me, new life, everything. I'm leaving, I'm putting this
I
behind.
can't. I just can't. And I just can't.
Yeah.
Okay,
And
I'm
I
gonna.
tell
Yeah, tell
you
me.
one more thing before that, because like you said, how we had like these optional classes. For us, we had like an optional class to choose from, and I can't remember the options that we got, but everybody chose another extra one other extra hour per week of maths. So we had like 6 or 7 hours of math per week. So that was like something.
Okay, because it's just an audio. I rolled my eyes so hard when she said maths because it's an audio. I need to put this in frame. I rolled my eyes so hard on this.
Yeah.
Okay, because yeah, I really truly want to talk about high school some more, but I'm gonna tell you my like at the end of the 4 years how it went for me. So I had, yeah, Romanian oral and written.
Yeah.
I had French written, English oral.
Okay.
Then I did geography and physical education.
Okay.
Um, but I almost failed my French.
Pardon my
I'm gonna
French. I almost failed it.
I'm gonna tell you more next time because I almost, and I need you to understand something. You know how I know I'm gonna fail? Because I didn't even understand what they wanted from me on the last subject.
Oh God.
That's how my poor French was. I have no skills in French. I hate that language. It traumatized
But
me.
still, you lived in Tunisia and you used French there. So
No, I
it's not
didn't.
like so bad. You didn't use
No, I
French
did
there?
not. I did not use my. Do you know? You don't remember the? This is Alina that goes into a bakery. It was just me, and I was telling the guys out. If the guys were just outside, and so I go to the bakery, and I say to the person, I look at him, and I say, "Je voudrais," and then I look at him. He looks at me, and I point at the thing and say, "This one."
Okay, that was okay. I kind
And
of
the
thought,
guy looks at me, and he says, "Arab." I'm like, no fucking way.
oh God. Oh my God.
And I have one more. This is at the end of my 5 months in Tunisia because this was at the beginning. And I was like, I'm gonna go to Tunisia and I'm gonna learn French.
Yeah.
I go on a train to go to Tunis, where I stayed like one or two more nights before I left Tunisia forever. So I got on the train and I wanted to ask someone if I can put my luggage in this particular place. So I say to him, Est-ce que je peux? That's it.
Meaning, can I? Is that what you asked him? Okay, just can I? Oh my God. I kind of had I knew that your French was like you're not confident with your French, but I kind of had the impression I was under the impression that at least in these like small situations you used it a bit more. No, okay.
My level is the third grade level, which is Ma poupée est belle, which is like my doll is beautiful. That's
Okay.
all I know. I
Okay.
do understand a bit. I do understand, unless it's like French, very French from France. That I was like, "Oh, wah, 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 wah." That I don't understand. You know what I mean? But
Right.
like in general, I can understand bits and bits
Right.
and
If
bits.
you see it
But yeah,
written
speaking, it's
properly.
more about. So yeah, for sure we need to talk more about high school because you shocked me to my core. I didn't know this about you at all. Like zero, 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 zero did I know about your
It's
maths and physics. Um, and yeah, I really want to get more into high school because I think it's gonna be really funny too. And maybe next time, I don't know if we're gonna do anything video, but maybe we're gonna have some pictures to show how we looked like back in high
oh
school.
my God, yes.
Also, because next year is going to be 20 years since I graduated high school.
I was
So
going to say that and it's actually a good time to talk about it because when I
yes,
think it's 20 years, it's like, oh my God, this is crazy.
yeah. So I'm all about uh, talking about it because I'm kind of hyping myself up for hopefully it's gonna be a whole event happening.
Oh my God, 20
Um,
years. Can you
20
imagine?
years since I graduated high school. Crazy, crazy. But yeah, so thank you again, Andra. Thank you for shocking me. Like I know you truly woke me up. Um, I'm not going back to sleep. That's what I'm saying. Um, it was so yeah. This is why I love these kind of episodes. I really love because we really learn about. each other. New things. Sometimes we
Yeah,
really
because
learn
yeah,
new
some
things.
things we haven't discussed because yeah, it never came up. So we were
Mhm.
kind of like, yeah, whatever.
And it's even
But
better that I'm like, finding live on the podcast. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah, I like your reactions, your reaction videos.
Yeah. So again, thank you, thank you, thank you. And looking forward to see what we're gonna learn next time about each other.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun actually. It was actually really good to remember this part.
This concludes today's episode. Thank you for listening and for reviewing Traveling Inside Out. If you want to get in touch with me, send an email to podcast@alinaigrad.com. And remember, your outer journey begins with inner work. Until next time.